Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Hi, welcome to Urban Renal Talk. I'm your host, Tamika.
And Steve, what's going on? What's going on, Tamika?
Hey, Steve.
Man, oh man, what a week.
Yes. Oh my goodness, it has been crazy. Trying to keep your calm and your mental wellness on point with so much going on. Trying to keep the patient safe along with yourself and working short of supplies, short of
Wow.
PPE, just changing the normal precautions to something totally different with limited supplies.
How are
So
you handling that? Because I know you're on the front line of working in dialysis. I mean, how was that going?
it's like it's different. Because of course you want to protect yourself, you want to protect your patients, but then you also have to think about home life. So if I am a lack of some PPEs, then it's a possibility that whatever I have, I'll take to my family.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, or a patient. Or cross contamination. It's just like wow, like you really want us to wear one mask the whole entire day.
Now, do y'all have any patients that's been identified with coronavirus?
No, not that we know of as of yet.
Oh, okay.
That can easily change.
Thank God.
Yeah, any moment that can change.
I'm sure. Well, they said uh the worst is about to come.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. So, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, of course I have a job to do, but I also have family outside. So, what do I do?
Right, right. All right. Before we get started, I want to say good evening to Cynthia Pete. Thank you for joining the show. Lisa Baxter, as always, from the Lisa Baxter Show, and Miss Betty Hell Mayweather. Thank you for joining the broadcast. But Tamika, what sparked this show? You posted a post on Instagram that I thought was very interesting, and I reposted on Facebook, and it got a lot of responses. And this was the post right here. Uh, why the coronavirus is triggering mental health issues. Something that a lot of people are not thinking about, but are feeling. They are looking at it more from the physical aspect if they want to catch it. But at the same time, they are experiencing a lot of these issues on this board right here: despair, mindset switch from living to survival, trigger feelings of hopelessness, decreased job security, promotes social withdrawal, which I've seen and experienced, loneliness, decreased financial security, fear of loved one lives, increased health anxiety, despair. And then it goes on to say quarantine makes it more difficult to distract oneself from existing mental health issues. So not only does this can impact kidney warriors, but society in itself, especially people who are already dealing with mental health issues. Now they got to deal with something else on top of this that can exasperate
Yes,
uh, uh, the symptoms that they already have.
right.
And then it says coronavirus isn't just threatening our physical health, but our mental health too. Look after it. Please share to raise awareness. And I appreciate you posting that. I mean,
Right.
really, I do, because really never thought about that aspect myself. And I'm feeling some of those exact same symptoms on that or issues on that
Right.
poster. So tonight we got to help talk about this. We don't have a professional, but I don't think we really need an expert that tell one how to deal with their own life. I mean, I think it would take managing, and if it got to a really certain point to one is talking about harming themselves, then reach out to the health experts. But unfortunately, we couldn't get expert on the show, but the information we're going to talk about is from the National Alliance of Mental Health, mental illness. And also we have to talk about this from a spiritual perspective is Kidney Warrior Transplant recipient Chaplain Rickie Austin Jr. Hey, what's going on, Chaplain Austin?
Hey, Steve, how you doing, brother? How you doing, Tamika?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, man. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on our show. Now, you not only are you a transplant recipient, but you're a chaplain for first responders. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
I know you're a chaplain and I know you have faith, but does any doubt come across your mind about the possibility of being exposed to the coronavirus?
Well, it absolutely crosses my mind. I mean, for the last 2 weeks, I've been dealing with some respiratory issues. I was exposed to influenza A at the dialysis clinic where I was doing a speaking engagement.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so I've been taking a steroid boost, and I've had a albuterol inhaler, and I'm not used to having an inhaler of any kind, and I don't take much prednisone, but for the last week I've been on a bunch of it, trying to get my lungs to be strengthened because of my compromised immune system. So it's definitely something that I've been concerned about, and it's something as a transplant recipient, you well know, with all the immunosuppressant drugs, we really have to be careful. So although my faith is extremely strong, I'm not ignorant to what's going on. So of course it's always in the back of my mind.
Now, Rickie, lately you've been posting some inspirational messages, giving other warriors hope when they may have posted some despair posts. Have you seen anything like this? I mean, before, as a chaplain or just as a patient being online, what it is today. I mean, we have many emergencies in the past, but have you seen anything like this before?
No, I actually haven't been a chaplain very long, just November most recently. And so most of the stuff that I've experienced has been through, secondhand information from chaplains who've been doing it a lot longer than me. I have friends who are firefighters and police officers. So I hear the stories, and then I also, I have people who just seem to be drawn to me who may be going through some sort of mental or emotional state, previous to the coronavirus. And, God uses me to encourage, to equip, to strengthen them. But it's just something that whether we have the coronavirus here or not, you're just going to see it because of this chaotic world that we live in. It's a very corrupt world. And in my opinion, there's no way that we can go on our own strength. I mean, as you see now, everything that we look at that has been something that we're accustomed to and used to has all been ripped away. So I see it all the time. This is a new experience for all of us. Well, I mean, you guys in the health field, I'm sure you're more experienced with it than I am, but I've never seen anything like this. So it definitely has me thinking. My wife and I have been quarantined in the house, and we've been praying daily and really just seeking God for answers. Because when we come out on the other side of this, what do we do next? Because even though things may become normal again, I don't think they'll ever be as normal as what we, we're used to.
Right. Now, Rickie, have anybody reached out to you that may be experiencing any of these issues on this chart? Despair, absolutely. Hopelessness, decreased job security, or loneliness, financial.
Yes.
decreased financial security?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, people in my circle, you know, a lot of people that I'm not very close with, but for whatever reason they feel that they can be open and share certain things with me. These are definitely concerns. I mean, for instance, my wife is a school teacher, and we don't know if school's going back in this school year. So even though, you know, we're kind of okay, we don't know what the future holds. So this is something that I think everyone's in this situation.
Right. You know, I like to piggyback off of what you
as
said.
far as the loneliness and the, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
finish up.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, as far as the loneliness and all of the other things, I definitely see it. I follow a lot of transplant recipients, people who are in need of transplants, people with cystic fibrosis and in need of kidneys and livers. And this is a very scary time for all of us.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is, yeah, people are like very concerned of what would their life look like outside of this. Like once this is over, what this life look like? Because so much was taken all of a sudden. You weren't allowed to do this, you weren't allowed to do that. Trying to get meds, a lot of people can't get meds. A lot of people who have a lot of people who have businesses is closed. Like it's just so much. People are unable to work. So for the people that's working, how are they going to get this if they don't have the money? It's just changed so many people's lives instantly. And then we have to adjust right away.
Yeah.
Every day there's different things that we're supposed to do. Don't do this. Oh, I thought we could do this and you can't do that. And then it's worse if you're a dialysis patient, a cancer patient, a transplant patient, like people that need life-sustaining things and they're not able to get them.
Well, you raised it. Good point there, Tamika, because now I guess they have placed some transplants on hold.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now that leaves a lot of people in limbo. The potential of losing donors who maybe was in the pipeline, maybe getting tested or whatever the case may be. Now what?
Right.
So Rickie, for someone that's watching this broadcast, whether they're suffering with a chronic illness or they're healthy, or anyone just watching this broadcast, from a spiritual perspective, can you share some tips on what is getting you and your family through and what God has put in you to speak about pertaining to what's going on now?
Absolutely. So for me, I grew up in church, and I guess if you will, I kind of lived through my mom's faith and everyone else's, growing up and watching them. And then when I began to go through my own trials in 2011 with kidney failure and losing my mom to cancer and all of those things, my mother's faith was no longer enough for me. So I realized that I needed to establish a true relationship with God. And I found out that he was longing for a relationship with me. So I began to change my habits. And one of the things that I really had to implement in my home was consistent prayer. My wife and I joined together in prayer every day, every night, throughout the day. I'm constantly in my word to receive encouragement. I do different devotionals, Bible devotionals. And then I have a circle of friends who are, they're my accountability partners. We call each other the Justice League. And I'm not the strongest person in the world, so I go through things, they go through things. We pull on each other. The Bible says that iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens another. So in a nutshell, we need each other. One of the biggest tricks of Satan is to get us isolated, which is what we're seeing now. And you have some people who are introverts and they're not easily able to communicate with others. Some of them have social anxiety disorders and everything. The one thing I would encourage, besides the fact that being faith-based is very important, meditation and everything, I would encourage people to seek help. When my mother passed away, I realized that I was not able to get through my emotions and my feelings alone. So what I needed to do was not only seek the counsel of my pastor, but I needed to also talk to those who I trusted, and I needed to get professional help. And through my job, they offered the Employee Assistance Program, and I was able to talk to professional counselors and therapists to get the help that I needed. So while faith is very important, the Bible also speaks about having wisdom and adorning it, like wearing it around our neck. The Bible encourages wisdom in books like Ephesians and Proverbs, and that's what we need to use at this time, is wisdom. If you're not okay and you need help, don't hold it in, but really cry out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what, Tamika? I mean, you made some very good points, Rickie. Now, I was looking at while you were speaking, some information from the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and they start off by saying the coronavirus can significantly affect mental health for everyone, but especially for those with mental illness. Both the anxiety of contracting the disease as well as the increase in loneliness and isolation can worsen and trigger symptoms. And then it says acknowledging, recognizing, and acting on mental distress in these uncertain times is key to lessening the impact. But one thing they mentioned, like for people who may be dealing with OCD, they said obsession. In a situation like this one, it is easy to become obsessive about disease prevention, especially for those with OCD who already experience contamination obsessions. Unwanted, intrusive worry that one is dirty and in need of washing, cleaning, or sterilizing. I mean, this virus, it sounds like it's going to trigger obsessions, loneliness, traumatic stress. And it's like, what can people do to lessen this impact?
And then you know what, Steve, on that one, fear. So today I was supposed to care for my mom, and my sinuses are acting up. My sister didn't want me to come there because I'm coughing, but I'm only coughing because, of the post nasal drip. So my sister has like OCD. My sister has OCD, so she gets nervous of things like this.
Wow.
So now someone had to take off for work to care for my mom because they didn't want me there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, same with my mom. She didn't want my dad to just walk up and down the street to get exercise.
Right.
Because somebody may walk by and have it. And I was like, no, let me give him a mask and some gloves. I mean, just to ease her fears. But, and she's a praying person. She used to go to church every Sunday until this happened. Now, Pastor, how is your services at your place of worship is going? Are they doing it online? How is that happening?
Yep, it's strictly online. The only people that come in the building on Sundays would be the pastor and a small portion of the band in worship ministry, and they would sing a few songs to lead people in worship, and the pastor would preach, and that would be it. But there would be no congregants. Strictly streamed online through Facebook and YouTube.
Wow. Alex Barrio says transplant centers are losing medical equipment. PPE is low for dialysis centers, I'm hearing. Yeah. I mean,
everyone is losing those supplies. Everyone is. Like, it's not just there. You have the hospitals are losing supplies. It's just not enough.
Right. So, Pastor, in this instances, how do you qualm the fears of warriors who like watching this show. They go to dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and maybe they may hear of a person that may have the coronavirus. But what I'm hearing in this area in Maryland, what DaVita is doing, they have designated, because they got so many clinics, they can designate a specific clinic to be the coronavirus clinic. I don't want to say it like that, but people who are infected, they could just be at that one center, and then they have other designated centers for patients who are well. But what about small companies who only have one facility or maybe two, and you have maybe someone who's watching this and they go to a clinic where they can't be moved and they have to stay in the same facility with someone who may have that? How do we lessen their fears through faith?
Well, one of the things that I find important when it comes to the Word of God is getting it internally in your spirit. So we have to pray the scriptures. For instance, Psalm 91 is one that's been going around, especially during this time throughout the body. Hiding in the shadow of the wings of the Almighty. Angels lifting you up in their hands, and no pestilence shall come near your dwelling, and you won't brush your foot against a stone. I think it really just helps with your mental capacity, just knowing that there's a God out there who really does care about your well-being. And I believe it also helps to be able to be in an atmosphere where you can be around other people who are going through those things and have experienced miracles. Myself, I've experienced miracles personally, and then I've experienced miracles with others around me. So that helps to increase my faith as well. I think during this time also, we need to watch what we put into our spirits and our mind. The Bible talks about watching our ear gate and our eye gate. Maybe we don't need to look at CNN 24/7. Maybe we don't need to watch movies about murder and horror and this and that, and listen to things that are not edifying to our spirit. The Bible talks about things that are righteous, things that are noble, things that are pure. Think on those types of things. And those are the things that we need to implement into our lives during this time. We don't need to watch things that promote hate. We don't need to watch things that denigrate another race or anything like that. And those are the things that I believe also aid in us just feeling that strong negativity in our lives. And then also when it comes to the dialysis patients, the one thing I would encourage and what I learned as a dialysis patient was to advocate for yourself. Ask questions. I don't care if you think it's a stupid question. Your life is at stake. Dialysis is your lifeline, and you have to advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I agree with you.
Even with them asking questions right now, a lot of centers don't even have answers.
Right.
Very
Right
true.
about that.
Very true.
Deal with
Very true.
you can't answer your patient, or when there is no answers about transplant, or if I get the call, what do I do?
They may even hold off on the call.
Yeah.
So Tamika, I want to share with you with the National Alliance of Mental Illness what they say people can do who may be experiencing obsession or anxieties or trauma or stress. One thing is they say, with the awareness of these mental health risks, we can work towards coping with this challenging situation and reduce the potential impact on our mental health. Here's a list of coping strategies to help get you through these uncertain times. Then they got one, and I want to tell me what you think about this. Be mindful of your news consumption. Something that Rickie said about listening to CNN. The news can be helpful by encouraging precaution and prevention, but compulsively and obsessively reading and watching about the outbreak can be detrimental to mental health. Here are a few suggestions that may help you follow the news while protecting your mental health. And then they say, one, limit your resources. Rely only one or two reliable sources of news, as misinformation and bad reporting are rampant. The CDC is a great resource for updates and precautions. You can also select a news medium that allows you to avoid potentially triggering content. For example, when reading front an article on your phone or computer, you can scroll past disturbing photos and quickly reach the information you are interested in. What do you think about that?
I totally agree. As a person that suffers from severe anxiety, which has been recently, I had to turn off a lot of those things in order for me to move forward. Because what I noticed was when I go to work, that's when my anxiety heightens. That's when it gets to its highest point, because not knowing what I'm walking into.
Right. What about? Go ahead, Tamika.
No, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just gonna say, what about you, Rickie? Have you limit your?
I've had to unplug. I've definitely had to unplug. My wife and I have spent majority of the time in the house with the television off.
Do you watch the news?
I do watch the news, but I've never really been an avid news watcher. I love to read, so I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of podcasts and things like that. But I also love television. I love listening to sermons. I love good movies. I love all of that. But right now, coronavirus has flooded the airwaves. You know, even when you're trying to watch a show that you're used to watching, you get a news break with news that they told you 3 hours ago and nothing's changed. So right now, my wife and I really have had to unplug, and we'll leave the television off all day. And then after we've done everything we're going to do for the day, then we may come together and watch a show on Netflix or Hulu or whatever. But right now, the most important thing is really to unplug. And for us, it's focusing on God and declaring and standing upon his word as our foundation, and believing that there is another side to this. We will come out of this, just like the other pandemics and epidemics. People are resourceful. Within the last 5 years, some of the scientific breakthroughs that have happened in this world, I attribute to God giving man the ability and the knowledge to be able to do that. So I believe that this thing will probably get worse before it gets better. But at the same time, I do believe that there's a better outcome. And, people really need to take some time out to think about their futures. Just write it out. As the word says, write the vision and make it plain. And when you have goals in front of your face, no matter what you're going through, you have something to aspire to. The word says, for lack of vision, people perish. So if you don't have a goal or a plan or anything in place that you can stare at and internalize, then you just feel hopeless.
Right.
True. But I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick. So what about those who don't believe in God?
I'm
Rickie.
sorry, say it again.
What about those who don't believe in God?
What about people who are atheists?
This is just my opinion.
Right.
But those who don't believe in a higher power, they're seeing now how much control they actually do not have over their own lives. Mm-hmm. So I truly believe that there will be an influx of people to come into faith. It may not be Christianity. It may be Christian Science. It may be Islam. It may be something. But everyone needs something to believe in.
To hold
and for me, yeah.
Right. Now, another suggestion, they say, Tamika, which I'm sure Rick would agree with, is practice acceptance. Accept that the news coverage will not answer all your questions or address all your worries. Accept uncertainty. Trust that officials around the globe and the medical community are trying their best to address the situation. But you may have some people who don't believe that. But you gotta accept something to, I feel, to get past this. What do you think, Tamika?
I mean, I accept what is going on in this current moment. Do I have some reserves about how it got here? Yes. But I do accept it. You know, you have to accept it in order to move forward. And like he said, you know, you have to have your eye on the bigger prize outside of it.
Right, right. What do you think, Rickie?
I'm sorry. Say the question one more time.
Practice acceptance. Accept that the news coverage will not answer all your questions or address all your worries. Accept uncertainty. Trust that officials around the globe and the medical community are trying their best to address the situation. Now, this all is coming from the National Alliance of Mental Illness.
Okay. Well, so I do believe that we do need to accept the fact that the news won't help you, you know, with everything. As we see, for those of us who have been patients, a lot of times we've seen that it's a guessing game. You know, sometimes they can't figure out why this is going like this, when for another person, it didn't go like that. So why is your body responding this way? So we know it's trial and error. You know, I would hope that people recognize that, not to mention the fact that we're all human, we're all imperfect, and we're all flawed. So I would hope and pray that we wouldn't take everything at face value that the news is reporting. You know, Donald Trump talks about fake news a lot, and it's kind of funny, but the truth be told, he's not incorrect.
Right.
You know, they will spin stories. They will do stuff to play one side, you know, over the other. So I think that's where it comes in with us seeking out knowledge for ourselves. You know, do research. Yes, this is what they're saying on the news, but you know, the coronavirus has been around for a long time. It's not just one virus, it's a group of viruses. So let's, you know, maybe we get into the medical books and do some research of our own and see what we can piece together. Of course, let the medical professionals be medical professionals, but don't just take the word of someone else. We have to do our own research.
Do our own research, right? I do agree with that. I even tell my patients, like, all right, you asking me all these questions, but the same questions you asking me, you can do your own research.
Right. Another suggestion to make it, they say, is limit consumption. Establish a reasonable rate of consumption, which may be checking for updates 1 or 2 times a day. Consume only what you need to know, what's most relevant to you, and particularly what is happening or anticipated in your own community. Do you think a lot of people may focus on things that's happening outside their community and they panic that is going to come to theirs?
Yes, I do, only because this is new. This is new for everyone, unless you've lived in a country where they had outbreaks before. We never had outbreaks like this before. So yes, it is. They're looking anywhere for information.
What do you think, Rickie?
Coming next.
Well, for me, man, when it comes to stuff like that, you know, I remember sometimes I would have some friends that would be going through a specific situation and they would neglect to reach out to me to share what they were going through because I was going through my own thing. And the one thing I would always tell them is, if you're going through something, please tell me, because not only does it take my mind off what I'm going through, whatever solution that I may have or insight that I may be able to give you may wind up helping me in my own situation, but I would have never thought of it if you had brought your situation to me.
I agree.
So, you know, I really think that it's very important for us as people to lean and pull on one another. You know, don't be a parasite and just take, give during this time. You know, there are many things that we can all do to check on somebody else, and helping somebody just makes you feel good about life. I don't care what the situation is. I wish I could be out on the front line right now, serving food to many others. But because I'm just getting over an illness and I realize I'm immune compromised, I can't be out there like that. But what I can do is make phone calls. What I can do is call someone and encourage them, or I can put up an encouraging post on Facebook, or just let you know, hey, I love you. I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. You know, these are the things that we need to do as people, whether we believe in a God or not, because we're not here by ourselves. If we were only here to be by ourselves, we'd all have our own individual islands.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So another suggestion they say is staying connected. Stay connected with friends and family by Skype, FaceTime, email, Messenger, and text, especially those who may be isolated. Be ready to listen to their concerns and share yours. Learn effective listening skills to help your friends and loved ones. Now, Tamika, I know a lot of kidney patients, especially older ones, live by themselves. So, and maybe not being connected. So I'm wondering how it's affecting their mental health. Like now they can't get out. Maybe they used to go out to the shopping mall or something just to get out the house. Now they're stuck in the house, which we didn't even think about this. They may consume more food because of their anxiety, or more unhealthy food, maybe like takeout or
Chips,
canned food, or unhealthy food. I mean, this is really serious.
Well, I mean, people are going to do that to try to ease some of their anxiety. I know as far as my grandmother, she's okay. She says, listen, honey, I washed my hands. I've been washed my hands. I told you how to wash my hands. I'm sorry, how to wash your hands. So I think the older people remember the basics of washing their hands and not going outside. So I think some of them are really okay.
Mm-hmm.
I do think some of them are really okay, because as I talk to some of my patients, they're looking at me like I'm not worried. And they always say, I got God on my side too. So that's another reason why they're not worried like that, because they're faith-based.
Sure. They say social connectedness is critically important to warding off loneliness and resulting depression. There are many online peer support communities to turn to, including those for mental illness caregivers. Now, Rickie, does your church have any type of, other than the services that they're doing online, do they have any type of support group for people who may be dealing with some of these issues that we talked about in the beginning of the program that people may be experiencing? Like,
I believe so. So there are you can always call our church office and ask. I believe there's a list of different resources within the city, but then we also have district pastors, and in some of those districts we have counselors and therapists and everything, and they can connect you to those. Not only that, we do small groups. We do have a group for our seniors. We call our prime timers and things of that nature. And our church is really like a big family. So we create bonds and we create these connections. And not only that, we're very well known in the community by doing different outreaches and stuff. So relationships are built. So if anybody is lonely or feels isolated, I haven't heard anything about it. And I'm not sure what other churches do offer these types of things, but community is very important. And that's one of the biggest things of being a corporate body of Christ-filled believers.
Mm-hmm.
So my concern is for the ones who don't have that community. And I found out, speaking at some of the dialysis clinics and trying to get some of the patients to consider either doing home hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis, they come to dialysis strictly for the community, and they don't want to change that because that's the only interaction they have with other people. So it really is a tough subject. It's a hard thing to deal with, and somehow we just all got to band together during this time.
Right.
and check on one another.
Absolutely. That's very important. Now, Tamika, here's some tips. Um, Taking care of yourself. Um, they said this article says it's essential to make your health a priority during this time. The critical self-care activities are sleep, physical exercise, and a healthy diet. Find ways to address forms of stress, such as journaling, going for walks, or calling a loved one. Maintaining a sense of normality and routine can also reduce stress. Then it goes on to say it can be especially helpful to practice mindfulness and try not think of the future or worst case scenarios. There are many online references, including Kindle books on Amazon, YouTube, guided medication, and yoga videos and apps such as Headspace. What do you think about that?
I mean, I've used some of those apps. They do work, but it's for the individual.
Right.
If that's going to really help them.
Right. Uh-huh. What do you think, Ricky?
Well, I think we all need outlets. So I think if we allow ourselves to just focus on the facts, focus on the news and everything else, and don't have an outlet, we will drive ourselves to some sort of mental struggle. For me, if I can use the situation when my mother passed away, I was in a time where I isolated myself from everybody, with depressed and everything. And the only outlet that I had was writing. My wife is an avid journaler. She probably goes through about 25 to 30 journals per year, and I'm not exaggerating. So whatever it may be, find that channel. Exercise, yes, absolutely. Eat right, yes, especially for those who are, have pre-existing health conditions or on dialysis. You got to stay away from certain things anyway. But whatever it is, if you use needlepoint and you crochet or whatever, you need something else that's going to take your mind off the current situation.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of him. I think what you said is so right. I think we need to go back to where times was more simpler. There was no social media. Unplug. Go back to some board games where stimulate your mind for some positive activity. When have a board game or some spades made someone, depressed, or some pinochle or something like that? Something that's going to make them happy. Turn on some music, some oldies or something that's going to just bring you upbeat.
And I'm going to piggyback off of that because that was the next thing they had. Find things to do / distractions. Then they said activities that distract you from current events can be helpful, just like you said, Tamika. And they said, here are a few ideas. Household chores, such as spring cleaning, will give you a sense of purpose and accomplishment when completed. Free online university courses and courses through Coursera, such as Yale University or the Science of Well-Being. But movies are moving from theaters to online. Netflix is a good option. And then they talk about TV, but now you can't even, no sports. So you're going to have to look at reruns of maybe sports. I mean, now people are faced with being with themselves. What do you think, Tamika, of dealing with themselves, especially if you can't go out and distract yourself from what you normally do?
Well, Steve, as an introvert, this isolation don't really bother me because I'm an introvert and I don't care for large crowds or anything like that. But what I can say is people like unplug. Like I think unplugging and doing normal simple things will really help more people than staying in the know.
Right.
Pop back in every now and again, but don't stay in it. I think that will make you more depressed than unplugging and doing something else.
What do you think, Rick?
I agree. I believe it's been scientifically proven how stress affects the body. So we need to do things that stimulate our mind, that challenge our minds, even things that you may deem difficult or something that you never thought you'd be able to do. I mean, especially if you have internet access, YouTube is vast. You can learn anything you want to learn. Get into things that challenge your mind, like music theory, like hard math, learning about different cultures and different societies and how we once lived and how we maybe adapted to certain things that affected, just think about it. That 1918 pandemic of the Spanish influenza, had we not adapted somehow, we'd probably be extinct right now. So what did the people do to get to the point where we're still here? We are a resilient people. Humans are not meant to just lay down and die.
Right.
So let's figure out what we're made of during this time.
Right. I agree.
I agree with you.
Take time to love on yourself also. Take time for some self-love. Because a lot of us been asking for life to stop just for a minute so I could make that phone call, or stop just for a minute so I could just get myself back on point. So people can actually use this time to, I don't want to say reinvent themselves, but create a different life for yourself.
Right. Right.
With education, like the free classes, take them. You never know what's going to be needed when this is over, and now you are able to do it.
Right. Absolutely. So where do we go from here, Rick?
Hey, I agree. Why put off tomorrow what you can do today?
Yes.
And I just want to encourage you all, whatever you are feeling in this situation, know that you are not alone. There is a God who loves you, who desires to see you prosper, and just seek him. He can be found easily.
What would you suggest to someone who's in your situation right now that dealing with a transplant? Maybe how long have you had your transplant?
It's been about a year, almost a year and a half.
So what if someone that's in your situation right now that's looking at this broadcast, say maybe 6 months, 8 months, year, 2 years post-transplant, and they're really, really nervous about what's going on. As a fellow transplant recipient, what can you share from your own experience of how you're getting through this period right now?
Okay, well, I've talked about the faith-based side. The practical side would be if you're really nervous about, not losing your transplant or, just being healthy, be compliant. Do the things that you've been instructed to do. Hydrate your kidney. You have to drink enough water. Take your meds every day. Stay away from high sodium foods, and recognize what your strengths and weaknesses are. If you need help, ask for it. If you're struggling with certain things, and you know that these things are detrimental to your physical health when it comes to especially food and all of that, then it's time to be super nervous and pay super attention to your bodies. We have to pay attention to what our bodies say. And we know when we don't feel well. Like I started not feeling well a couple of weeks ago. I knew I wasn't going anywhere. I knew I had to cancel some things. I had a ride along to do with the police, and I had to cancel it because I didn't want to put them at risk or myself, especially with the coronavirus going on. So I feel like when you're nervous or when you're angst about something, it makes you focus on it more. But to the positive side of that, it makes you pay more attention to it and make sure you're doing things right. So be compliant. to the instruction of your doctors. If you have any questions during this time, make sure you connect with your transplant coordinator and your primary care physician and your nurse practitioner and whomever else in the medical field. If they don't get back to you right away, leave a message, but be persistent, and you got to take care of yourself. Most importantly, do the things that they told you to do when you got the kidney and you were so happy and joyful about it. Don't get laxed. Now is not the time to get laxed.
Yeah, I think now would be too dangerous to get lax because there's not enough healthcare workers actually to tend to the patients.
Right.
Rick, we about down to our time. Want to thank you for coming on and sharing your perspective on this from a spiritual perspective and recipient of kidney transplant. Man, we really want to thank you for taking the time out coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, and definitely please continue to do what you do online to give hope to people who definitely need it.
Absolutely, I will. Won't stop.
All right, man. So we talked with you soon.
All right, have a good day. Blessing to you both.
You too.
All right. Hey, Tamika, before we leave out, Jared wanted you to talk about ibuprofen and NSAIDs with this coronavirus. What have you heard about that with stuff like Advil and other NSAID medications when taking this if you have the coronavirus?
Well, I heard actually that it makes it worse on the patient, but I'm still doing a lot of research because I hate giving out information that's not as close to 100% true as possible. I'm sorry, as possible. But a lot of patients shouldn't even be taking ibuprofen anyway. They shouldn't be taking Motrin if they have on kidney disease. Actually, nobody should be taking Motrin.
Right.
Body,
Yeah, definitely takes a toll on your kidneys in the long run.
Yes, so I'm still doing more research on it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that it makes it worse, but I'm not 100% sure. That's why I didn't want to fully put it out there, and I told people that basically you could do your own research on it, but I'm still doing more just so I can have accurate information.
Right. And so, I mean, tonight, again, you put out this on YouTube. Let me remove the banner. I'm sorry, on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. On Instagram.
Steve, it was a day where I was really triggered.
Right.
Really triggered that day. I was having a moment and I'm like, this right here has to be adding to my anxiety. It has to be making it to a point where it's like very sensitive to certain situations. And the situation was caring for someone that has coronavirus. Am I able to do it? No, I'm not.
Yeah. Now, I wonder if anyone else who's watching this broadcast right now, if you are experiencing or have experienced any of these health issues on here, please give us a thumbs up and let us know you're not alone. Even myself experienced some of this stuff on this poster, not on a daily basis, but it has crept in and I pushed it out. But trigger feelings of hopelessness, decreased job security, promote social withdrawal, loneliness, decreased financial security, and that's happening for a lot of people right now, Tamika.
And even with the stimulus package, like people need to be mindful on their spending because when quote unquote the government goes back open or we're allowed to go outside, there's going to be so many changes. There may be higher prices for some of the companies to catch back up. Like we don't know what it's going to be like once this is over.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Fear for your loved ones. I
And that's
mean,
the reason, Steve, that it's hard for me to take care of a patient that has COVID-19, because it's not me I'm worried about. It's my daughter. It's my husband. It's my other daughter, my sons, my mom. It's more than just me.
right. And we have seen this, the mindset switch from living to survival, with people buying up toilet paper, hoarding, just going absolutely crazy, which is just unbelievable. So we just went over a few tips. Again, we didn't have any uh, expert on here. We couldn't find one. I'm sure they're probably overwhelmed by the amount of appointments, if they can see appointments during this time, because I think they stopped seeing a lot of people,
It's not
far as non-medical.
seeing you. They're not seeing patients because they don't want their staff to get sick.
Wow. Yes.
And it's all about containment, trying to contain it. The more people you bring in, the more likely someone else is going to get sick.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had an aunt on hospice and she passed away. They wouldn't even let us go see her or let her daughter go visit her with her transitioning. We couldn't even do that. We probably won't even be able to bury her.
Mm-hmm.
It probably has to wait. So can you imagine later on what the morgues are going to look like if they're not allowing people to bury their loved ones?
I know. I know. And what about the teachers who may lose their job because they closed down school?
Listen, if I was a teacher, I would ban right now and start my own online school, and the parents will pay and go from there. This is the time where teachers can band together and start their own little personal community.
Yeah, like shows like this.
Shows like this, also do a Zoom. I mean, there's different ways teachers can really change things around for themselves right about now, because the parents need the teachers. We need you to teach our children. We don't know how to do it.
I know.
I
All
mean,
right. Well,
like she said, this is going to change all of our lives. It either can change it for the better or for the worse. It's all mindset.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is not going to be the only show we're going to do on mental health and the coronavirus. We're going to continue to stay abreast, try to talk about it, give people a avenue to vent and voice what's going on with them. That's why we hope you guys will keep coming back to participate and vent your concerns and your worries on our page, just to hopefully get some release if you can't get outside.
Right. And also, if there's a topic that you want us to talk about, just contact us. We'd love to talk about different topics. If you want to be a guest, please come on.
Yes, absolutely. Cynthia P says, my nephrologist called me. They are doing visits like FaceTime.
That's good. That's good. But you know what, Steve? What's going to happen? I can see this happening is from this situation, a lot of people are going to go FaceTime. It's going to be more delivery services. It's just going to change everything.
Well, I hate, I have a buddy who did a lot of posting, and I didn't post a lot of his stuff because it's really heavy,
Okay.
and I didn't want to. I mean, it's,
No,
but you're right, and the reason why I said that because he mentions 5G, and
it's going to change everything.
when you have 5G, which is that top internet speed or whatever it does, I mean, I guess it's going to be more online stuff, 5G. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be more, I guess, digital or online movement. So I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Even now with the tolls, they're saying that they're just going to use your lights or lose your license plate number and then send you the bill. Well, if that's working for them today, trust me, they may keep that thing going forward. You get what I'm saying? Because if they're getting, sorry, I think someone needs to. Oh, I just read Jared's, but yeah, I can see them using that moving forward.
Yeah, and get rid of the tow people.
Yeah, no need to touch money anymore. We're going to take a picture and send you your bill. There you go.
Yeah. Even now in the drugstores the supermarkets got the, check your stuff yourself.
Yep.
Nobody got to touch money.
Yep. No one's going to touch money. And then here we go with the cryptocurrency. Like, it's just, listen.
Right. All right. Yeah, it's heavy, but guys, when it comes to kidney disease information, we're definitely going to be here and give you the 411 broadcast. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow for kidney stories at 8:00 with James Uncle Jim Myers. He's going to have on, let me pull it up because my mind got so much going through. He's going to have on Dr. William Goggins. He's a he's a kidney transplant surgeon in Indianapolis, Indiana, and is affiliated with Indiana University Health Medical Center. He also he's been in practice for more than 20 years. He specializes in kidney transplant surgery for both adults and pediatric patients. And check this out, Tamika. In 2018, Dr. Goggins was recognized for performing his 2000th transplant. So we're going to have him, well, not we, but James Myers, Uncle Jim, is going to have him tomorrow night. And if y'all got any questions, now, Tamika, one thing about this show that I think kidney warriors should be watching, he's a transplant surgeon. So if they got any questions, maybe about the coronavirus and transplant surgery, if it's on hold, or do they think this is going to blow over and maybe resume transplants, this will be the time and the place to ask those questions. Who else is going to give you that type of information?
I think maybe his show should be on Zoom. I said, I think maybe his show. I think maybe his show should be on Zoom, and that will allow people to ask live questions and get a lot. Just a little different, and you still can put it live.
Yeah, can it? You breaking up?
Oh, I said maybe he can use it on Zoom.
Yeah, the thing is, can this be can it be transferred to that? Because the link has already been made.
Oh, I'm not
I got to go into
YouTube
as well. Oh, absolutely. We're gonna have great, but we need to get that Zoom. Okay, but we definitely need to get that
Zoom show. We could do a Zoom show where the viewers get to come in and have their moment and say, how they feel or ask a question, and it could be answered.
Right. All right, we're definitely going to work on a future show with Zoom where we're going to have a definite another physician. Right. Yeah. So we're definitely going to work on that, but we're going to have that show tomorrow, and we're definitely going to work on a Zoom show where we're going to have on an expert to answer those questions.
Yes. So everyone stay safe. Wash your hands. I gotta wash my hands because I just walking stuff all over here. It's high from my own germs, and y'all be blessed too.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you for watching. We see you next week, same time, same channel. Again, as Tamika say, stay safe and be careful out there. Wash your hands and stay in the house if you don't need to go out.
Right.
Help flatten the curve.
Also,
Your kidneys matter.
also, don't be ashamed of having mental illness. I myself suffer from mental illness, anxiety. It gets really bad. Sometimes you see it on here, but don't be ashamed to have mental illness. Speak on it so people can know and understand.
Oh, absolutely. I deal with it as well. So, I mean, I just try to do everything I can to keep that anxiety and depression at bay.
Yes.
So, no one's perfect on this earth. So,
not at all. Steve, I think people are ashamed to say, I have a mental illness. I think people.
I mean, we've been through so much. I mean, who doesn't?
Like, how could you not have something wrong when you've been through hell and back, or just trying to make it through life? You have something going on with you. Every time a situation goes on, your mind recreates a person to deal with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm definitely not ashamed to speak of my mental illness and my past addictions and stuff like that. I mean, we're human, we all fall short the glory of God. So,
yes, but we still standing. You get what I'm saying? Like, we still standing.
Yes, absolutely. So, with that being said, we definitely you got to work tomorrow?
I quit.
Oh, okay, good for you. Well, I mean, and you do what you got to do to make you happy.
God will make a way. Shit, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I would have quit if I was still working, because I spoke with a person today that works with DaVita in Baltimore, and she told me it's true. The mask, they're short on masks. They're locking up the mask. They're locking up hand sanitizer. It never used to. I mean, huh?
You get one mask a day. I come in there. I got my lipstick on and stuff like that. I take the mask off. I got my lipstick in the mask. I don't want to put that back on.
Right. What about a face shield?
The face shields are fine. We don't use the disposable ones, but to put that on all day long, I'm coughing into it. Sometimes I have some bubble gum, but I'm just being honest. Like, sometimes you get a little in there. Like, no, that's nasty. No, bye.
Yeah, see, used to be able to just grab it whenever we want. Now those days are gone. You can't I mean, now you look back and say, I wish I would have stocked up on it, or
right. And Steve, I'm like, well, we're the state now. You want to write us up? We're the state at now. We're OSHA at now. We're all these people that made us do all these precautions for the patient's safety. Where are you now?
Right.
No, sorry.
Yeah, I swear. I mean, no one knew this was coming, because if I did, I would have stocked up on hand sanitizer, because you could have got it from DaVita or whatever. They had so much of that stuff coming in. It was like bubble gum.
Right, but when you seen things, when the telltale signs started happening in January in the United States, somebody should have clicked the light.
Right.
Someone should have clicked the light, not the middle of February. Things are starting to be posted around units quietly. No one has really had conversations with patients on what to do or how to survive with this, that, and that. They're just putting papers out there like the patients are really reading them.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Very.
All right, girl. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll talk. Get some sleep.
I am.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching again. I mean, somebody got to trust me. We're going to do things differently from now on. Most will stay more stocked on alcohol, peroxide, masks, and gloves. And then Leslie said, I did stock up on it. See, that's another thing, especially with people who used to do home dialysis.
Peritoneal, they need these supplies. So if the medical staff cannot get these supplies, guess who else can't get them?
Right. But I think may come from what did Jared said? The government knew that China was dealing with the problem since November 2019.
Exactly, but it didn't start hitting over here till
Right.
the end of December.
But if they knew, they should have started preparing, just like they did with the Ebola.
How? When he got rid of that department, the handles
Right.
pandemics.
Yeah. We can keep going on and on and on.
Yes.
It'd be like peeling layers.
So yes. So like I said, God bless you all.
Absolutely. God bless. Thank you. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. All right. Peace.
Peace.